I want to put up the poll question for today. There we go. Very simple. You got Ohio State and Notre Dame in the playoff final, and I just wondered, how are you going to handle the playoff title game? SEC fans, Tennessee fans, what's a good Southern person supposed to do? Your options: go Ohio State, go Notre Dame, or go watch something else. And it looks like right now Notre Dame is in the lead, which is kind of where I'm going. We'll discuss that a little later, but I'm surprised there aren't as many go watch something else. Everybody's going to be watching it, but it looks like Notre Dame's in the lead right now. Earlier today, the people who are playing it, you can go to our website, sportsource.tv, play it there. You can also use your QR code with your phone right there, click it on the QR code, and play along. But earlier when I got in here, the lead was much, much smaller for Notre Dame, but it's going to blossoming here. It's blooming this morning. So tell us what you're going to be doing when they play that title game. All right, as I mentioned, Johni Broome, whose name I screw up. I'm terrible with names. I apologize. You know, I'm lucky I get
that's why
these
you go
guys.
by like JB.
Yeah, that's why I'm lucky that I get these guys' names right. Isn't that right, Stark? So Johni Broome hurt yesterday. You saw it, texted me. They had to carry him off because he'd hurt his ankle. After the game, Bruce Pearl said significant ankle injury is what it looks like. Obviously, they've got an MRI scheduled, and we'll find out more, but it didn't look good. So if you've got a player of his caliber, best in the SEC, best in the nation, you can make the case. You can be a good team, but that's a heck of a hole in your roster if he's not there. How much does that impact Auburn as probably the SEC favorite right now? Does that bring them back to the rest of the pack?
Well, it most definitely does, but we also have a history of Coach Pearl of when his teams are backs against the wall, they lose players.
New Year's Day a few years ago,
Sometimes that's when they rise up. So it'll bring them back to the pack a little bit. What you saw across the SEC last night with Alabama getting a big-time win, even Georgia that's coming here Wednesday, the league is loaded, but I just think that loss will bring it even closer, harder, tight race.
Let me go ahead and put some numbers up here on the screen for everybody, just so I'll give this to Chuck and Josh. They can look at them. You've got the Ken Pomeroy rankings as of last night. Auburn number 1, Florida number 5, Tennessee 6, Alabama, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Ole Miss, all in the top 25. There you have the last AP top 25, and that's from last Monday, so obviously that's going to change after Tennessee lost. But you see 9 teams, including Oklahoma, in the top 25 when it comes to the human vote. And then you have the standings after last night. So you've got 3 complete games. You've gone through 3 rounds of the SEC's round robin. And you see Auburn, Alabama, Ole Miss all there at 3-0. And then the rest of those teams are 2-1 there below it. Josh and Chuck, who do you like in terms of winning the SEC now? If Broome's going to be out for a while, you still put Auburn in that mix, or you take them out of it? What does that do for Tennessee? Josh, I'll start with you.
Well, it helps Tennessee a lot because Tennessee has to go to Auburn, and it's still going to be a really tough game. But if they go there in a couple of weeks and they don't have Broome, that helps Tennessee a lot because of his position, how good he is. That was going to be a matchup problem, I think, for Tennessee. I think Alabama's really good. We just saw what Florida could do against Tennessee. That was at home. Tennessee will get them in Knoxville. But, I mean, I think there are 4 or 5, maybe 6 teams that have a legitimate case to feel good about their chance to win the SEC. It helps Tennessee. I would probably lean toward Alabama, Florida, Tennessee in that conversation. Kentucky, though, winning at Mississippi State. We can't count out the Wildcats either.
Yeah, and that injury, John, that's how I broke my ankle. The same kind of way. He actually landed on a teammate's shoe and couldn't get up and had to call for other people. So I think at the very least you're looking at a high ankle sprain. I think Auburn would take that right now.
Yeah.
I think who I would look at now, who beat Tennessee by 30? That's the team that's got my attention. I'd go ahead and circle February 1st. That's when Florida comes here. But I think they're the most talented team I've seen.
Hey, John, I'm not a betting person, but I would have bet that we would not had a comparison of Broome to Chuck. Coming on the show today, like,
or if you told me it was coming, it would be made by Chuck. That would have been the safe bet. That would have been the safe bet.
But I do think when you look at the league last night, and we're snowed in, so I'm watching more SEC basketball, there's a lot of points being scored in this league, 80, 90, 100 points at times. And sometimes I look at that Tennessee team, I'm like, man, like where are we going to consistently, night in and night out, get 80 to 85 points? Because that's what's going to take a lot to win on the road. And what we saw at Alabama, can it snowball where a lot of teams, they get hot a certain night and they're scoring 85. Our defense is really good, and we'll bring them back to the pack a little bit. But when you look at this team for Tennessee, you got to be wondering, where are we going to consistently get 85 points against high caliber talent?
Well, and it's such a thin team in terms of the numbers of guys that are out there. You would look at it and say, okay, you can survive if Lanier doesn't have a great night. You can survive if Milicic doesn't have a good night. You can survive if one of those guys takes a back seat. They won a game last night with Milicic and Lanier being down. They combined for 17 points. All right. When they have two of those guys off, it's going to be really rough on this team.
Right.
I mean, you can do without one, but you can't have a night where two of those guys aren't scoring.
And I thought Gainey was playing better there for a while, but he was only hitting, 26% on threes now?
Yeah, he scored some volume points last night.
Ziegler was down to like 29%. Mashak's in a slump. So, Mark, I mean, you're right. I thought the same thing. When you go down this lineup, you've got players either hurting or slumping or something that they're going to have to snap out of that.
Yeah, Kentucky brought in shooters and scorers. They're going to put up a lot of points. They put up 106 against Florida. When Tennessee plays Kentucky, that'll be a real test at what Tennessee can do offensively.
All right, very good. When we come back, let's preview the Vols' next two games. Mark mentioned it. Georgia's coming in next. Then the Tennessee goes to Vanderbilt next Saturday night. What kind of challenge can those teams provide for the Volunteers? And this is a week where Tennessee gets a sweep. We'll discuss that. Come on back on the Sports Source.